you have a cleaner area with less pollution, less trash, the value goes up. People like living there more. People treat their homes better when there's not a big old dump of trash right next to it because people keep littering in it. So it just one small thing, it spreads, Got to do more of it though.
Yeah. My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to The Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh. And joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with another top producing real estate agent, Mr. Jake Dornbos. How you doing, Jake?
Doing good, Kevin. Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling it today, man. I had to give you that great intro, great energy today, starting off the show. Yeah. We're gonna cool things off, man, and start off with an icebreaker that I have for you. It's called This or That, Jake. It's essentially two contradicting words and or phrases related to real estate, and I just want you to tell us which one you choose based off whatever qualifications, of your own. That's pretty much it. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool, let's do this. First one. Appraised value or assessed value?
Appraised value.
Okay. Next one, buyer's market or seller's market?
Seller's market. That's all I've been in.
Got it. Location or condition?
Location.
Okay. Property management team or self-management?
Self-management.
Last one. This is what I'm interested in your answer. Capital gains tax or property tax?
Ooh. Property tax. I've just been thinking a lot about property taxes lately. It's the only reason it's on my mind. But capital gains isn't too fun either.
I know, right? For real. Yeah. All right, cool, man. Thank you so much, Jake. Starting things off a little bit cool and casual, man. Having some fun right here on the show. So let's get into who you are specifically. I'd like to take this time to give our guests the opportunity to explain who they are outside of real estate in 60 seconds, please.
Okay. Yeah, so no, outside of selling real estate, I'm a husband and then father of two crazy little kids. My youngest just turned 2 years old yesterday, so
congratulations.
Gave him some cake a little too late last night, so he was up late. They were both going crazy, so hands are full outside of real estate. My oldest, he just turned 3 last month, so 3-year-old, 2-year-old running around. And then really. That just takes up all my time. it's like full-time chasing kids is what it seems like outside of the real estate game. So, other than that though, I work at, for most of the part during the week, I'll work at family business. We make street signs, road signs, things like that. But when I'm not busy doing that, I'm off selling real estate, doing whatever deals I can. So yeah, pretty much that's it. Just wife and 2 crazy kids.
Hey, I get it. I got a 1-year-old going on 2 real soon myself, man. My son, man. So he gives me a run for my money, dude. Yeah, man. I get it.
No client is too difficult to deal with after that. I'm telling you, no client's too difficult.
Oh, dude, talk about it. They test your patience, dude. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yep. Yeah,
that's an interesting side gig that you have too. You say a family business. You make road signs.
Yeah. So my grandpa started the business back in the 60s with a partner, and then my father ended up taking it over. Now I work there with my brother. My dad's still working there, but until about I clock in around 6:15, 6:30, work there till 3 Monday through Friday, and that's just all. Any of those road signs you see on the road, street signs, things like that. We do a lot of realtor signs, sign writers for all sorts of real estate companies. So, that keeps me busy.
Man, what a business.
It keeps me busy during the day, and it works out too because anytime I have houses to show or anything like that. Seems like it's always in the afternoon, evening time, or on the weekends. So
Yep.
kind of work hand in hand together.
Yep.
Plus, yeah, I get a great deal on my real estate signs, so can't complain there.
I know, right? The best deal.
Yep.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I love it, man. That's another way of you have another gig, but it can kind of help in you know intermingle with what you're doing now as far as a real estate professional with you being able
Yeah.
to get signs out for yourself and other agents too. So
Yep.
gotta respect the hustle for that. So let's talk about it. You touched on it briefly. Let's talk about where you are in the area that you're serving. So
Yeah.
geographically paint the picture for our audience who may have never been there, and then let's talk about some of the economic stats in regards to real estate there.
Yeah, so I live in Charlotte and based out of Charlotte. That's I would say that's my main market. But with that being
Mm-hmm.
said, I do a lot throughout the Greater Lansing area. For whatever reason, I seem to get a bunch of clients in the Holt area, Diamonddale area, things like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so no, that's great. Anything in Charlotte, I mean, I know all these roads kind of like the back of my hand, so it's a little bit easier. But I'll bounce around a lot. So typically, the average price of the home that I'm dealing with is around 200,000. Sometimes I get out into that that Holt area, Diamonddale area. They'll get up more in the $300,000 range, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, as far as just the days on market, how long things last, I got my real estate license. Oh shoot, about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty similar as far as just things go fast. It's been a seller's market this whole time. I mean, the
Yep.
slowest it's gotten was during a little bit of when the pandemic got bad, and then it slowed down a bit when those rate hikes hit. About a year and a
Mm-hmm.
half ago or so, but even with those things, it stayed a seller's market the whole time. So typically, I feel like I find if it's priced right, if it's priced okay, they seem to go within about a week. As long as it's priced
Yeah.
decently. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really about it though. I stick around the Charlotte, Greater Lansing. When it comes to listing houses, I don't care where it's at in Michigan. I could list a house in the UP if you have one for me. That's fine. Um,
Okay.
as far as running around buyers though, I try to stay within no more than about 30-minute drive from my house. So I'm doing
Gotcha.
doing the best for them, not wasting their time or anything like that. So
Hey, real quick, how would you describe Charlotte? Fun fact for everyone listening right now: Charlotte, Michigan, is where he's talking about. What I learned when I first moved to Lansing: Charlotte is spelled like Charlotte, but it's
yeah, but you
pronounced
can't call it
Charlotte.
Charlotte
That's
or
one thing.
people will jump down your
Oh no,
throat. Yep.
yeah, they will. I got that too, so I had to put that out there. If you see
Yep.
Charlotte, Michigan on the map, it's Charlotte first and
Charlotte.
foremost. But I want to ask you, how would you describe Charlotte? Like, is it suburbs? Is it rural? Is it city? Like, paint that picture a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah, so it's certainly a combination. We got the downtown area where the houses are, they're close block neighborhoods. Everything's pretty close together, sitting on less than a quarter of an acre. And then
Mm,
you get out a little more towards the country space. You'll see a lot more of those suburban subdivisions popping up, things like that. And then we also have, there's tons of farmland, lots of vacant land, lots of commercial farmland, things like that. But so people will go crazy for those houses out on a dirt road, middle of nowhere, on 5 acres. So we kind of got a little mix of each one, and it's pretty big geographically. It'll take you about
mm-hmm.
15-20 minutes to get from the southernmost part of Charlotte to the northernmost part of Charlotte, because it's just so much space in there. So we get a
Right.
good combination of it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So you already mentioned that you've been doing real estate for just a few years, probably just like what, 2019 BC before Corona. So can you talk about the moment where you decided you wanted to be a real estate agent and why you felt like, you know, turning into this career was important to you?
Yeah, yeah. So I graduated from Michigan State in 2016 with a degree in psychology and a additional major in
Mm,
sociology. Great, is good experience. Got the degree, but it was pretty quickly I found out you can't do it. You really can't do anything with that. You can make
sad truth,
it's
man.
sad but true. You can make a little bit more than
Yeah.
minimum wage, but really you're not making
Hmm.
much more than minimum wage, and so. my only options were, go back, get my master's degree, which with that you're stuck in a tight little corner there, and you still can't make too much more money. There's a tight ceiling on that, and it
Correct.
costs so much more money, time, everything. So I kind of messed around, just did a few odd jobs. I was, working at the family business at the sign shop, and then my one of my buddies asked me if I wanted to go to a Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar that was in town. It was just
I
one of these.
love that. Oh my God.
Yep. Just,
That book is a common theme on this show. Sorry to
oh,
cut you off, please.
yeah, no, you're good. It's one of the best books of all time. One of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites, and so yeah, I read that book, went to that seminar. That was beginning of 2018, and that just kind of opened my mind to the whole investment side of real estate. I wasn't even thinking of being an agent at that time. I wanted to find out, how do I get in on this? I'm learning about all these people who are investing in real estate with little money down or no money down, using other people's
Mm-hmm.
money and making these huge, gigantic checks. So that was the catalyst, and that just got my brain moving and everything. So I kind of messed around. Had a couple partners who messed around with wholesaling for a little bit. Got into that in 2018, or what was it? Yeah, 2018. Was able to dabble in that a little bit, and then just after doing a couple deals with that, I realized I was leaving so much on the table because so many people wanted to just, they wanted a traditional agent. They wanted to just, hey, let me just sell a home a traditional way through you, or I want to buy a house traditionally through you. And so, next step was just to get my license, and got licensed in 2019, I believe, and kind of hit the ground running. It wasn't making a lot of money at all at first. I definitely was
Yeah.
losing money. I think my first few checks were like, shoot, a few $100, honestly, like $300, $400, not the big checks or anything. But I was learning, I was learning
Right.
the process. I got to learn start to finish how to really close a deal, how title work goes, just everything like that. And yeah, so it just kind of slowly progressed, and then I was able to, get some bigger deals going, and things are moving fairly steadily now. Yeah, other than that, though, I guess before that, I kind of had an idea that I wanted to get into real estate when I was growing up. I helped my mom out flipping some houses. She flipped a few different houses, so I'd be like 10 years old or so, and I'd be the trash runner or something. I peel this wallpaper, paint this, whatever, and but I got to see, from sweat equity and things like that, there's just money to be
Mm-hmm.
made in real estate. And so yeah, after all that, yeah, just ended up getting licensed, and one thing led to another. 3 years went by pretty good, and I realized I was able to, take that broker's class and get brokered out, so somebody could, so I didn't have to be giving a big chunk of my commission check away, because I'm not too big a fan of
Man.
that. And yeah, I got my broker's
Yeah.
license about a year and a half ago, and yeah, it's going good. As the real estate comes in, I get it closed. If it happens to be a slow time, then I just enjoy that and work at the sign shop. So it's good. It's going well. It's going well. Hope to keep the
Beautiful.
steady, slow growth going is the goal.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, man, you will too, man. And you're in that what I call a sweet spot. I was literally just talking about this the other day in another episode where that three being a real estate agent between 3 and 5 years, like that's that real like obviously before then or the years leading up to it, but I'm hearing for the most part, if you can make it through that third to fifth year
Mhm.
where you're consistently still trying to build your leads, you're still trying to get your clientele up, you're still trying to learn the ins and outs of the different situations that can come. After that fifth year, on average, third, fourth, fifth year, it seems to be like a snowball effect. Like
Mhm.
now all the leads that you worked hard for, now they're just sending you referrals or they're working
Yeah.
with you again. And then you know a lot more about different things that can happen. So like I feel
Mhm.
like you're literally at that sweet spot, and then as soon as you cross over that threshold, man, it's just easy work. But it seems like it's already working in your favor right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's going well, and that, just like what you said there, I have, just in the past year or so, I've definitely been getting more of those, like, referrals, which those are the best leads. When somebody, they already trust you because their friend says,
Yeah,
"Hey, this guy
man.
did a good job. He didn't lie to me, did exactly what he said he was
Mm-hmm.
going to do." it's just, there's no pressure. You're not even having to go win a listing agreement or anything like that. It's already in your pocket, you know? And so those are the
Yeah.
best. That started to happen. And yeah, just being able to kind of hone in where I'm putting my marketing dollars now, and it's working better. Where when I first got into it, I'm just like, let's send a bunch of mail this way. Let's buy this online lead source or whatever. And next thing you know, I'm out
Mm-hmm.
all this money with no leads coming in. So,
Oh,
yeah, things are,
ooh.
we're getting into that sweet spot now. And when I spend money on marketing now, I'm happy to spend it because I know that's going to come back to me. I'm not just shooting a shotgun and hoping hoping
Mm-hmm.
I hit something necessarily. So yeah, we're getting there.
A positive ROI. That's what we all want, man.
Yes.
So, since you've already had a few years under your belt, I'm assuming you've already seen a bunch of different properties. Let's get into the weird stories. What is the weirdest thing that you've seen at a property thus far?
Yeah. That question had me thinking the most, honest, because I was just kind of racking my brain through everything. But honestly, I had to say the weirdest one. I went to this one guy's house. It was a for sale by owner. You know, I was just trying to get to know him, see if he might list with me in the future. And somewhere in the Lansing area. I forget where specifically, but we're just walking through this house. It was a nice house. It was a beautiful house, but there were just paintings everywhere, like all over every room, second story, basement, everywhere. And they were all just these like, I'm not a big art guy, I like some art, but I'm not like a art critic or whatever, so to me it was just a bunch of, it looked like a it just looked like a little kid who didn't know how to paint got a
Oh,
paintbrush and painted a bunch of weird looking naked people all over this man's house. Just
oh wow.
it was nude art everywhere, but it was like, I don't know, maybe they might have been really good art. I don't know. I could be saying like these could be $10,000 pieces of artwork. I don't know, but to me it was just,
He's like, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. It was just weird, awkward. It was just all these different types of naked people everywhere. Basement, upstairs, bathroom, and I was just, just these are some.
Uh,
You're an art fan, are you? Okay, cool, excellent. So it was weird. It was awkward. Didn't end up getting that listing
that,
either, by the way. It
oh,
was
you didn't?
fine. No, I didn't end up getting that one, but it was fine because I had to probably suggest to take all your paintings down for once I get windows for
Right,
you.
right. Oh yeah, you have to take these down. I'm sorry.
Not
You have to
everybody
take these down.
likes the pictures of naked people all over the place. So
That remind me of Super Bad when my man was addicted to drawing those certain images that I'm not going to discuss. I was like, well, that's the first thing I thought of when I heard that. Like, yo,
luckily they weren't
he
that
must have been in the
detailed. They
same
weren't as
class.
detailed as the super bad pictures, but they were weird. They had me just kind of bouncing around and as I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking through. So yeah, I think
I
that one
bet,
takes
man. I
the cake. It
bet.
was really fun.
So not everybody who comes to you is probably going to be in the best position to start looking for a home or whatever the case may be. Some people still have to get pre-approved, haven't even talked to a lender yet. So how can you talk about a time where you actually had to help a client go through the pre-approval process in order to get things started?
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, typically with every one of my clients, this conversation, I have the same conversation about a pre-approval. Though they reach out to me, hey, I'm interested in buying. If they're a first-time home buyer, it's just the very first question I ask them: have you talked to the mortgage lender yet? Usually they say no.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I just reached out to you because you're the real estate guy. So then from there, I just kind of explain what a mortgage lender can do for them as far as how much more they know about what specifically you need to do to get pre-approved. So that's always step one. So really, as long as they're receptible to that, I say if you're serious about buying a house, I have this list of great mortgage lenders. Unless you have your own that you want to reach out to, just reach out to these guys and say, hey, I'm interested in purchasing a home. What are my next steps? What do I have to do? And as long as they, if they're actually motivated and if they actually want to buy a house, they'll call that mortgage lender. They'll speak with them. All my lenders I use are really good, super professional, and work with, whether they're first time home buyer or they're buying their 20th house. And they'll just say the same thing. They ask them all the same basic questions. What do you got in savings? How's your debt to income? pull everything, and they'll know right then and there if they'll know same day if that client can get pre-approved or not, and if the client can't get pre-approved, they give them a nice little list, hey, your debt to income's not right, you got to get
Yep.
this debt down. I want to see, at least, 10, 15,000 in your savings account, start working on that, and then come back to me in, 6 months, we can talk again, see where you're at. Or a lot of times I've had a lot, with some people, they're just, they're such good savers, and they've got so much in the savings account, but they've never opened a credit card. They have no credit. This happened with my cousin. He's a mechanical engineer. He had plenty of money, and amazing saving habits, but they're like, we can't pre-approve you for anything, so you have zero credit established, So situation like that, let's say, go take out a credit card, just make sure you swipe that credit card and pay it off instantly. Let's start getting your credit established and things like that. But yeah, it's pretty simple. It's the same for everyone. Have you talked with a mortgage lender yet? If not, okay, I've got a great guy you can talk to. They're going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get pre-approved, or they're going to tell you you're pre-approved. And then as soon as we get there, get the ball rolling, start showing you some houses. So yeah, pretty easy conversation.
I love that different perspective that you presented with, because a lot of people, I feel like their DTI, debt to income ratio, or their credit, their credit score or credit history are the things that usually stop them from getting pre-approved, or not stop them, but, they kind of have to get that taken care of. But with the situation with having plenty of money saved, but not having a history of credit, that's completely different, which is just as important as having cash.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's spoken on too much. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. Because my cousin, he's just so good with money, has all this savings. And why can't I buy it? They won't let me buy a house. I'm like, dude, they know you're great at saving, but they gotta know you can use credit properly too.
Can you borrow somebody else's money and pay it back? Essentially,
exactly. Exactly.
I mean, there's ups and downs with all transactions for the most part. Everything doesn't go as smooth. Have you had a situation where maybe a transaction was going under contract or is under contract, but for some reason it just didn't go through? Can you explain any situation like that and how it was resolved, or why that was the case?
Let me see here. What was it? Oh, that's right. That's what this one was. Yeah. No, yeah. So the biggest one with a transaction, I've seen a lot of transactions fall through for random things, but probably the more ridiculous one I saw was towards the beginning of, one of the first deals I had done. And we got through the appraisal, we got, through inspection, they gave us the clear to close. They said, you're clear to close the house, schedule closing. So we got it all scheduled and everything. And then I think it was 2 days before closing, I got a call from the lender and, said, hey, this closing's not going to work. Turns out, this guy's no longer employed with where he previously was working at. Long story short, what had happened is somehow the lender didn't verify the employment like ever throughout I don't even know how we got to a clear to close. So that was probably the more ridiculous one, just because I had a clear to close from the lender, and then the lender called to say, yeah, sorry, employment was never verified. And understandably, I don't use that mortgage lender haven't using them anymore. But yeah, so that was a pretty ridiculous one. Another one I had, it fell through, and I tell everybody this is, especially since this happened, but even before, I'm pretty good at telling my clients, hey, once you're pre-approved to buy a home, let's not do any ridiculous things with credit cards. Don't go buy a truck. Don't go take a loan out on whatever, let's just chill until we can buy the house. Then go buy your car, do whatever you want to do. But I had a guy who decided to purchase a truck a week before closing. Went out and bought a new truck, and deal fell through. So that's a no. Can't do that. And I've heard that happen enough to almost every agent I've spoken with. No matter how many times you tell certain people what to do. Sometimes in one year, out the other. So
That's so crazy because I also have a friend right now who claims that he wants to look for a home, but he keeps debating whether or not he should get a home or a new truck. I'm like, bro, get a house. What are you talking about? You have a vehicle already. You can still drive it. And if you get this new truck, it's going to make it harder for you to eventually get a home. So just,
liability. You're buying a li you
I
buy a
know.
liability,
Yeah,
or
man.
what are you doing? What are you doing? No, I had one of
Man. No.
one of my other buddies, who's in real estate. He had a friend who's same deal, thinking of getting pre-approved, and then just decided to buy a motorcycle. And now he can't get pre-approved. It's like, I hope that motorcycle's,
Oh my goodness.
at least you're saving on gas, I guess,
I
with
was
your
gonna say, I
motorcycle.
hope you living in that motorcycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yo, what? I get it. I get it. Different strokes for different folks. Everybody's situation is different. So we
Absolutely.
just talked about a time where you had no control over a situation and the whole transaction fell apart. Now let's talk about a situation where there were some complications, some hurdles to overcome, but you actually went through, found a solution, and actually still got the deal closed. Do you have any situations like that you like to share?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a few different random ones between just, I've had to do random things like go run out real quick and load all that trash into my car and take it to a dump, otherwise the deal's going to fall through because somebody's, upset about a little bit of trash or this or that. Those were kind of minor things. And I have
Okay.
people now, I have people now who I can hire out there. Hey, go haul this couch away or go do this, go do whatever. So that's good. But probably the one where I had to go just kind of jump through the most hurdles was during the pandemic. When the pandemic first hit, I had a client who wanted to sell their house out in Eaton Rapids and wanted to list it, even though it was like right during that time where governor said real estate's not essential, so realtors can't
Mm-hmm.
show houses, but you can have an inspector go to a house and do an inspection, but photographers can't go to. It was just a big old mess, But
Right.
so we ended up listing it with pictures that my client took himself. And then we're trying to get it sold, but trying to even just get people to look at it. But it was right during that heart where people just weren't looking at houses. It was so hard.
Correct.
People wanted to see them, but agents were afraid to show them because they didn't want to get in trouble. Tons of agents were still
Mm-hmm.
showing them, because they thought the laws made no sense. So weird
Mm.
situation. But what I ended up having to do during that time was I got some buyers contacted me about that. It was a veteran, wanted to buy a house, it was going to be his first home. So he ended up like talking, or no, we ended up scheduling an inspection so he could go out with the inspector and see it legally because it's an inspection, it's not a showing. Got that
Right.
done. Got the house under contract. So I was representing the seller and the buyer on that. And then from there, it just became a big mess because it was a VA loan. House needed some work done to it. There was some peeling paint, some issues going on inside the house. So negotiated with both sides. We came to an agreement where the buyers were going to do some work to help the seller out. Seller was going to pay for the materials. Buyers were going to do the work to get the house all ready for the appraisal and
Mm.
whatnot. So got to play middleman there. We got everything worked out, and then come time for the appraisal, the appraisers during the pandemic. I mean, understand it was a scary time, but appraisers wanted to appraise homes without seeing the home in
Oh
person,
no.
which made no sense to me. There were tons of homes
Mm.
getting appraised without the appraiser stepping foot on the property.
Mm.
So I got this appraiser, and she calls me, and she wants to do a full appraisal on the home based off of the blurry pictures that my seller took, you know. So she ends up asking me if I can go out there and do a video walkthrough and take more pictures, blah, blah, blah. And so I had to go out there, take tons of different pictures, and then I had to, based on those pictures, my clients had to go back and repaint some stuff, and it was just a big mess where I ended up kind of doing an appraiser's job, not doing their job, but just going above
Right.
and beyond for them so that they could just give their nod and say, oh, yep, it appraises, it's good. So that was just a weird situation because all of the laws were messed up right then. Nobody knew what was going on. All the appraisers were scared to go places, but sellers still needed to sell their homes. And I've got this veteran who just served our country, and you're telling him you want to delay his closing and not get him moved into a home. It was just big old mess. But anyways, got it all taken care of. We're able to have both clients meet in the middle. Got closing day finally happened. My seller was absolutely ecstatic that we got him to the closing table, got him a big check. Buyers were happy they were able to get into their house. Now those clients, they're sitting in a really good position. They've got a lot of equity in the home. They've already updated it a whole bunch since then. So it was good. I don't miss that though. No more. I don't need any more lockdowns or pandemics or anything.
Man, none
Nobody
of us,
does.
man, for
Nobody
real.
does.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, so that was probably
Yeah,
that was probably the most taxing one. Yeah.
yeah. It's see, already working against the pandemic, man. You're working against factors you have no control over, and then you gotta the effects of that pandemic on other people's jobs. You have to go through. Oh man, just that story alone. I'm just sitting here
No.
like, dude, how did you do it? Like you
It,
picked. Like it's not like you knew the pandemic was coming, but you picked a crazy time to start and get into it. But it shows you all the curveballs that you would possibly have to deal with. So now you know how to deal with some of these worst case scenarios.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. I'm grateful for it. Not many people can say a year after they got their real estate license, they were faced with this pandemic that
I
shut the
know, right?
world down. And I had some pending deals going on there too. So I had a few other sellers right during that time. And they're all asked, "What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's next? What's next?" And I just had to tell them, I don't know. I'm like, this is crazy.
I know as much
I
as
don't
you, right?
Yeah, I've never heard of a lockdown where this is deemed not essential and whatnot, but it was a great learning curve. I got everybody through it. Everybody got closed out. Everybody was relieved. I was relieved. And yeah, I got a good lesson there. So
Yeah, man. Push through, push through. Great, great. So after we close, finally on a deal. A lot of agents, or some agents, it's to their discretion. Some of them give nice gifts to their clients, for closing on a deal, getting through that transaction. This is what I want to hear from you. What's the most elaborate, expensive, and or luxurious gift either you've given or if you've known someone to give? I've heard stories of someone giving away Louis Vuitton bags, washer and dryers. Please, fill us in. What do you have for us?
yeah, I mean, so I'm not gonna lie. For me, I usually just do a nice little card. I might get them, a nice little state of Michigan looking thing, or something like, cute, as people say, just a little cute thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But probably the craziest thing I saw, I walked into closing one time and it made me feel like man, geez, what am I doing? I look horrible here. I walk in and there's just a big old, like a gigantic bottle of champagne that this guy had bought for his buyers in there, and just a big bottle of champagne. I was like, man, I am slacking right now. Here I am with my little card right here. Hey, thanks for the big fat commission check. Sorry. I'll send you a bottle of something in the mail or whatever. But yeah, that was probably the craziest thing. Just a big old bottle of champagne. Other than that, for the most part, I just see random little, dinky
Right.
little, adorable things. A little card here, welcome home mat,
Mhm.
whatever it might be. But the big bottle of champagne, that's the craziest one I ever saw.
That's hilarious to see the Asian on the other side of the table celebrate with his clients. Like, yeah, here's a big bottle of
Yeah. I'm
and
like,
you just
yeah,
sitting there. Well, I got this card for you. No
yeah.
gift card,
Give
no
me a
money
heads
advance,
up,
a
dude.
card.
Seriously, give me a heads up. Like, gosh, I would have closed somewhere else if I knew that was going on, or at a different
Right,
time.
right.
Gosh, making me look horrible
Oh
right now.
man, I would have felt the way. Like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Volunteering. Usually agents like to volunteer their time in the communities that they serve, whether that's some charitable event or an event that maybe their brokerage is putting on for the community for them to come out and be social. But can you talk about a local community event or volunteer event that you participated in or continue to participate in that's near and dear to your heart?
Yeah, so for the main one is every year we'll have there'll be kind of downtown in Charlotte. We've got Bennett Park. There's a little river that runs through it. But it's just got some nice bike trails, things like that. All playground for kids to play around at, everything. But river will get like any river, it gets dirty, gets polluted, gets littered in. Same with the rest of the park. So I'll go around there during this volunteer time. We just pick up trash, pick up random stuff, talk to people. But it's mainly just pulling trash out of the river or trash off the side of the trails or everything like that. Just kind of keeping it looking nice. And then other than that, a few years ago, I volunteered at Woldemore Nature Center over there in the Lansing area, and I was hunting down they had some invasive species there, so they showed me what this one plant looked like, and I was walking trails, chopping down all these plants. It felt pointless because they were just everywhere, but I know it's important to do that. So when I volunteer, I like to do things in nature. I'm a big nature freak, like taking care of the earth, things like that. I'm big on that. So, those are the main things: river cleanups and invasive plant hunting.
That's the job that needs to be done, man. Like a lot of people don't necessarily. There's a park by my home, and like it's a big field, baseball, basketball, volleyball, everything goes on. But I promise you, every day after people leave, that parking lot looks a mess. I went there the other day. I was looking like people are leaving trash like this, but then I went the next day and I think the city cleaned it up. But I don't think people think about someone has to clean this up, man. Or maybe they think about it and they just know I don't have to clean this up. So I gotta tip my hat off to people like you that do that, man. Go ahead, please.
I need to do more of it. I don't do enough. I wish I did a lot more of it. But yeah, I mean, we're all enjoying these spaces, and as far as real estate goes too, I mean, realistically, you have a cleaner area with less pollution, less trash, the value goes up. People like living there more. People treat their homes better when there's not a big old dump of trash right next to it because people keep littering in it. So it just one small thing, it spreads, got to do more of it though.
Yeah, we all got to do our part more often on that. And with that being said, so looking back on your journey, the couple years that you've been in this profession, there's still lessons to be taken away. So what key lessons have you learned about yourself, the industry, and the importance of serving others? Two-part question. And what have those lessons done to shape your future goals?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest things that I've learned from the start is because when you get in this, you don't know anything. You have no idea what you're doing when you get into it, and sometimes still, on new transactions, something will come up, whether it's on title or some weird lending issue or whatever. You don't know what it is. You have no idea. You've never seen it before. So, best thing you can do, say you don't know. Don't act like you know. So many times I've said, I brought something up or like, hey, like I have no idea what this means on title. This issue just came up on title. How do I get this cleared up? I have no idea what's going on. Title company will help me out. Sometimes I'll be working directly with the other agent, and something will come up and I'm like, look, I've never seen this before. Could you explain this a little better before I go, asking around? And if you're honest with the other agent, even if that's a super experienced agent I've found, they'll appreciate that and they'll work with you to get the job done instead of you just, I see people pretend they act like they know something or like, oh, they just trust it's all going to work out. And that never works. You're not going to get to the closing table if you do that, so just that's been the biggest thing is just if I don't know something, don't be afraid to ask a question and just admit it because there's agents and brokers and investors who've been doing this for 30 years and they run into things they don't know, and the way they learn is they ask a question. So, and then, I mean, hand in hand with that, one of my favorite sayings just from being an entrepreneur and being in real estate is you don't know what you don't know. you don't even know the things you don't know yet until something comes up
Mm-hmm.
and smacks you in the face, and you're like, yeah, I don't know what to do about that right there. Let's see here. But
Mm-hmm.
you muddle through it, and then you learn, and that's where the best lessons come from there. So yeah. Was there another part to that question? Did I get that or?
How do those lessons shape your future goals and aspirations as a professional in real estate?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So with that, just from learning all that, it makes me realize I can push further. I can become a far more successful real estate broker. I can become a far more successful real estate investor. Because I'm here now. I years ago I wouldn't have thought I'd be a licensed broker running my own independent business. And making
Mm-hmm.
making some random checks here and there. Like I never would have known that. So yeah, it's just to keep pushing and to know that even though I don't know what I'm doing in certain things, whether it's a big joint venture on a investment deal or some new thing on a property I might not have done before, it doesn't mean it's not possible. I just haven't done it yet. So just ask a question, muddle through it, be completely honest with what you're ignorant about, and you'll get there. You'll get there. So yeah, from here my goal is just to keep growing the brokerage, but also break into that investment field. I've got a good little cash reserve on the side right now, so I'm looking for my first investment property, whether it's to just flip it or turn it into a buy and hold. But yeah, sky's the limit. I wasn't anywhere near that years ago. I mean, I was way in debt and just muddling around. So
Mm-hmm.
sky's the limit. I'm excited.
Man, we all got to start from somewhere, man, from ground zero on up, man. Well said, well played, Jake. Thank you so much for pulling up a seat here at the closing table and sharing that knowledge. We appreciate it, man. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess just lastly, thanks for having me on, Kevin. When I got your email, we were on vacation at the Great Wolf Lodge. I was like, who is Kevin from Windows still? Okay, what
Some
okay,
random guy.
it's a real person. He's with Windows still, so I trust it's a real person. But no, I'm just glad you reached out, had me on here. It was exciting. And yeah, other than that, I mean, if people want to reach me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bad at social media. I need to be better at that. That's one thing I do need to be better at. I'm horrible at getting on Facebook or all those other apps. I'm bad at it. So best way to reach me is just call or text me. Number's 517-719-0786. So call or text, whether it's just a random question, you want to meet up and network, grab some coffee or whatever, that'll work. And yeah, other than that, anybody's out there looking to, talk about potentially investing together or how to get in on it or whatever, I'm here for you. And I love just talking real estate, even if it's just random stuff like, hey, what's the weirdest thing you saw at that house that one time? Yeah, it's a bunch of weird naked pictures of a bunch of weird, horribly drawn paintings, but like random stuff. I love it. It has to do with real estate
Right?
or entrepreneurism. I love it. So
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much, Jake, man. We appreciate you again for being here. For our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this part in the video, do us both a favor and hit the like button. Make sure you also share the content and subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, a 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Jake, I like to leave our audience with a question before they leave the chat. So this is for you, audience. How did your real estate agent go above and beyond to help you close on your property? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, talk to you next time.